Hello, this is Congressman Wally Herger. Thank you for visiting my website for the final presentation about our nation's debt crisis. We have discussed the major causes of the crisis and its negative impact on job creation. Now I want to give you an overview of the Republican solution for stopping the debt crisis and creating jobs called the Path to Prosperity. House Republicans recently introduced our fiscal year 2012 budget, which sets spending and revenue targets for the next 10 years and offers common sense proposals to achieve them. This budget recognizes that the unsustainable growth in federal spending is driving our nation's debt crisis. It starts by cutting $6 trillion in federal spending over the next 10 years. As you can see here, it puts our nation on a dramatically different course than the catastrophic status quo, reducing spending as a share of our economy to far below the historic average. It understands that the federal government is too big and needs to return to the far more limited role envisioned by our founding fathers. This graph shows that dramatically cutting spending would stop the debt crisis in its tracks. Under the Republican budget, the size of our debt as a share of our economy would decline sharply, eventually allowing our nation to pay off the debt entirely. Over the next decade, it would reduce the debt burden by returning non-security discretionary spending back to pre-stimulus levels, and by making a cost-saving structural improvement to the Medicaid program. It would also expand Medicare choice plans for younger Americans to save the program for the 21st century. As the first presentation showed, the unsustainable growth in entitlement spending is the main cause of the escalating debt crisis. Without bold action to modify these programs, our debt will reach unprecedented levels that experts believe would destroy our economy. Unfortunately, the debt crisis is already undermining economic growth and making it more difficult for Americans out of work to find a job. But as you can see here, the Republican budget would create much-needed jobs. According to independent analysts, our budget would create 800,000 jobs next year alone and boost the number of working Americans throughout the decade. Tackling the debt through serious spending cuts will strengthen confidence in our economy and encourage small businesses to invest and hire new workers. It is a critical part of a responsible jobs agenda. This chart provides a side-by-side comparison of the Republican budget and President Obama's budget. As you can see, the president's budget would undermine job creation, add to the tax burden on the American people, increase spending by another $400 billion, and maintain the bloated size of the federal government. In sharp contrast, the Republican budget would spur job creation, free the American people from Washington's massive debt burden, repeal and defund the president's health care overhaul, and reduce the size and scope of the federal government. It is clear that the two budgets reflect substantially different principles and priorities. As Congress debates future spending, I strongly believe the Republican plan is bold and responsible and would put our nation on the path to prosperity.